Hi folks, Steve Capozzi at the Adventure and Camping School in Northeast Thailand. Just continuing my series of videos on water, dehydration, hydration, minerals and so forth. I've got a two-part video, the previous two videos. This is just going to be a combined list of items and gear that you should have in your pack, your kit, your gear, which can help you find water, treat water, collect water, hydrate, avoid dehydration and so forth. And the reason I call this a combined list is because the very first video in this playlist is a list of items. I go through 10 items which still are applicable, but I've just got a few more comments and a few more items that I've thought about over the last few weeks doing these water videos. So here we go, trying to keep this video as short and as sharp as possible. So number one, the first 8 items I should mention are multi-use items you should really have at all times anyway in your kit. So number one is cotton balls. Cotton balls, you can make a water filter. I've got videos on making improvised water filters. The first thing you think about is fire. It's good tinder with sparks from a ferrocerium rod. And also it's a first aid tool to clean wounds with either alcohol or potassium permanganate or something, which I'll talk about in a second. Number two is your metal water bottle. Your first water bottle should be a metal water bottle, either stainless steel, or there's nothing wrong with a thin aluminium, cheaper water bottle, so you can boil water in. Number three is obviously a metal cooking pot, so you can boil water, cook food again. When you go camping, you should really have 2 metal containers, cooking pots as far as I'm concerned. One you keep clean and just boil water in, the other one you can cook in. Number four are clear PET water bottles with the labels removed. I've talked about that in a previous video. PET bottles, and you can do 2 things with these things. You can put those PET bottles full of water in the sun all day, and the UV radiation will work to kill bugs in the water. You need PET bottles for that. And you know bottles are PET because there's a small symbol like an arrow triangle shape with the number 1 or PET. That's how you tell they're PET bottles. And the second thing is, you use potassium permanganate, which I'll talk about in a second, a few crystals in water, you shake it to get a light pink colour. That's the colour you need to know the water's safe and it's been disinfected by the potassium permanganate. And the clear PET bottles, you can see the colour of the water, which you can't do in some sort of a metal water bottle or some other dark opaque bottle that you can't see through. And as I said, your first water bottle should be a metal water bottle so you can boil in. Your second or third or however many clear PET bottles with labels removed so you can see through into the water, and then you can have other water bottles which are opaque which you can't see through. Number 5 is your cloth materials, whether it's your survival wrap, bandanas, handkerchiefs, tea towels. You can strain water, put that in water filters, and of course it's got the 101 other uses for cloth materials. Number 6 obviously is your fire making potential. You've got things to make fire, that's your fire to boil water and to cook food and so forth. Number 7, your plain old knives and tools. You need some knives and tools to cut cloth materials, make water filters and so forth. And number 8 is something I haven't spoken about before, but I will do a video on that. There's no reason why you can't have an emergency backup alcohol stove or a solid fuel stove at the bottom of your pack, just in case you can't make a fire. If the rain sets in, you can get that hot meal or a load of water boiled, get the hot meal into you. Hopefully that's enough to get you back to civilization or back home, or to ride out the storm if you think it's only a storm and it's going to clear up again. Alcohol is multi-use for first aid as well, and solid fuel can be used to start fires, like I've got many videos in my fire making playlist. The next 3 items are really just foods and chemicals you add to water, which I spoke about in the previous videos. Packets of electrolytes you add to water, spoken about that in detail in the previous videos. Salt and sugar, there's multi-use items to add to your food and water, just a pinch of salt and a bit more sugar to your food and water to get electrolytes back into you. I'm not talking about eating that stuff if you've got no water. Obviously you need water to add just a pinch of salt and sugar to get that back into you, and that's how you replace electrolytes. And your third backup emergency choice is baking soda, sodium bicarbonate from your health and hygiene kit. It's a body wash, as I've spoken about in a previous video, but you can ingest that in food and water as well to get sodium back into you. Number 11 was potassium permanganate, which I'll talk a bit more in a future video. I think potassium permanganate is the handiest and easiest chemical treatment you can take with you. It's a nice multi-use item. a few crystals in water, shake it up, get a light pink colour, the water's safe to drink. It's also a first aid tool, a solution with cotton balls to clean wounds and so forth, and you can potentially, in theory, make fires with friction and sugar and so forth. The last three items are just sort of backup bonus items to get you thinking. Most people should have tarps and ground sheets and things, could be rigged up to collect rainwater. Number 13 is clear plastic bags to put over branches to make a transpiration bag. I've got those in a previous video talking about transpiration bags. They should be clear so you can see the water and contents in the bag, and there's no reason why you can't have a whole load of plastic bags in your kit. Whenever I go camping, I've got a load of plastic bags with spare clothes in there. You can put your dirty clothes in there, a bag of food. When I set out, I just hang a plastic bag of food to my pack, even perishable foods. I just grab and eat on the way, on the trail, stop for a break and eat from there. And you can put tinder you find in the plastic bags, wrap it up, put that in your pack, in your pocket, wherever. So a good multi-use item to have plastic bags. If they're clear plastic bags, as a last-ditch emergency, you can make transpiration bags over branches. And that last 14th item was this latex tube, which I hinted at in a previous video. The latex tube, of course, you can put tubes in the transpiration bags or a solar still in the ground. Solar stills can be made with a sheet of plastic, but it takes more work and more energy because you've got to dig a hole. Transpiration bags are just easiest over branches. The latex tube can be put into the bag so you can drink the water if you need. You don't have to dismantle the bag or the still to get water. You can get water from inaccessible regions like crevices, rock pools and so forth. You can suck water out. And why a latex tube ahead of just a clear plastic tube? Latex tubes are much more multi-use. You can make slingshots out of it. It's a tourniquet for first aid, bandage, cordage, and as a last ditch, it can be burnt as a fuel. Latex and rubber does burn as a last ditch emergency. So they're the 14 items that you should really have in your kit. Well, the first 8 you should have, then the foods and chemicals. So the first 11 you should really have, and the last 3 bonus items, multi-use items that you should have with you. I'll talk more about potassium permanganate, which I think is the best chemical treatment in a future video. I hope you found it interesting. Thanks for watching. Thanks for comments. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you next time.